Welcome to another series of Architects Talk with Kale Bodur. Today I have a very distinguished guest, Rasem Badran, and he is here because of a very specific occasion. He was awarded with Turgut Cansever Award in Antalya. We are now in the Chamber of Architects Antalya section meeting hall, and just a couple of hours ago we were in Kepez municipality's hall and he received his award. First of all, I would like to congratulate you.
Thank you
For this award. It's an award given to lifetime achievement in the name of Turgut Cansever.
Yeah.
And thank you for being with us. That is very nice to be with you after maybe 10 years or something,
Yes,
because
10
you
years.
were here
We met also.
in the Architectural Biennale in Antalya as well.
Yeah.
Actually, Rasem Badran is a very interesting and significant name because, I mean, he was born in Filistin, but lives in Urdun, Jordan, and but educated in Germany.
Yeah. This is unusual, actually.
It is somewhat usual and unusual.
Yeah.
Because I mean, you have taken Western education. Then Germany hadn't been unified, as far as I remember.
No, it was in the former West Germany.
It was formal West Germany
yeah,
then.
yeah.
And then you went back to your country.
Yeah, to Jordan.
Jordan, and now your work is mostly appreciated by its contextuality more than anything else. So maybe we can start from here. How do you evaluate that dilemma between this East and West issue, and what is the significant difference between your education and what you have done in the other territories? Maybe we can start from there.
Yeah. Well, first of all, thank you for giving me the chance to sit with you, and also I am honored to receive the Turgut Cansever Award. Well, when you talk about my education and my background, okay, I studied in Germany, in West Germany, but I think I was fortunate that I witnessed the time of the student reformation movement. And this actually has shaped my idea about how we envision the man-made environment. I mean, the
68 movement.
This was 68. I was part of it through my work. I didn't interfere in the political or let's say, because it has a political, social agenda. It has
cultural as well.
Cultural, sure. So I was trying to be, through my work, to have some kind of a, let's say, a troublemaker. I mean, and this was maybe my first work, which I did. The name was the Mobile Theater, or the theater in the German Mobile Theater, the Zukunft, or the future. And here I was witnessing in that time the deconstructivist movement. It was through the sound, through the music. I witnessed Stockhausen, Giorgio Ligeti. So it was actually because the way I worked with them in one of my work, which has to do with the futuristic theater, or the social theater, which break the boundary between human being and this kind of orchestra, let's say, building or the opera building. So socializing architecture through what they call it, through a new concept of theater, and I think this was part of the agenda which I tried to keep it in my work. So I came back when I came back from Germany and started first of all I went to Palestine, or West Bank, to Ramallah. I am born actually in Jerusalem. Originally, I am from Jerusalem, born in the time of Palestine. So I was really looking after how you create an envelope or a case where the building is related to that place, particularly socially, culturally, environmentally, and even economically. So it was part of my dream to incorporate all these intangible factors to become tangible through architecture, because most architects think about to get out of the box and to create something which is unusual, the wow, or the let's say the iconic. I can do that, but I am.
Everybody can do it to a certain extent,
yes.
maybe.
So I commit myself to create a language which can be understood by all social classes. I try to educate people through this what they call the skin. As we dress ourselves, we have our dress and we have the other dress. How this other dress related to us, not related to a mad guy who wants to force you to dress it. So this is the way how I understood architecture. And I think when I started my work, it was a shift or a turning point in my profession. First of all, it was this theater. When I was students, the work was refused by the leftists, or what they call it by the rightist movement. I was in the left movement. Let's say I was a hippie. I mean, I was leftist, extreme, and we have with us some tutors who are so left-oriented, and we could pass this barrier. The work was published in a book in Germany. It's the first time that students have the chance to express their ideas through a very serious books about theater. This was 1968. Then I came back to Jordan. Maybe the idea is to get away from the very futuristic or very industrial approach, because as I told you today, when I was graduated, I worked in the Olympic Stadium complex in Munich with Frei Otto, and we've been commissioned to design, let's say, visitors' kiosks and services.
72 Olympics.
This was 72. So we started designing it when I was student, 1969. With my tutor and some leftist group, and we designed what they call it elements in metal. It was manufactured by an aeroplane industrial plant in Germany. So this is very funny that my first work was constructed through an aeroplane industrial plant, because I was fond with aeroplanes. I mean, this is another story, but I will not talk about it. So.
No, you should mention it, because there was a conversation with Zaha Hadid, I think.
And I will come to it soon. So, because when I was in the 15 years old or less, I was really, I got in passion with aeroplanes, and start even designing aeroplanes and remote control small aeroplanes. I designed it. I did some hovercraft. So it was for me. This was my world. I never thought about Earth object. I was always orient myself to the flying object, rockets and all kind of. I have a lot of drawing, lot of sketches. Maybe I will publish it in this lecture. It
was the term of archigram in England, and there were lots of technology-based.
Now Peter Cook. Yeah. I met him in 1968 in Darmstadt. When he by chance or by I don't know how it comes, he was looking to what we are trying to envision this theater of the future. So we met with him, with Yona Friedman also. We have a lot of conversation. So it was the golden time, actually. It was the period, and we've been seen as troublemaker because the usual architecture study or let's say curriculum, it was the Bauhaus. I mean, okay, you have to commit yourself in a geometrical form and to make some order, under orders. So it's for me as if I discovered something which complement my aeroplane concept. I mean, because it's industrial, high tech. It has some kind of parametric design in that time. although now I knew that it's parametric, but in that time I was shaping it because I was feeling with the aerodynamic, let's say, rules and constraints. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
So after that, this was actually a turning point in my life. And then I came back to Jordan, to Ramallah in the West Bank, the former Palestine. And then I came back to Amman to start with my very elementary and very basic, let's say, private homes, built through using the stone, natural stone. And this was, for Jordan, it was the first time that you are using natural stone to build a house by a craftsman, without using any kind of
Reinforced
concrete.
structure.
Yeah. And I think this house was the reason why people start now looking at my work. Udo Kulterman, I think he got some of these houses which I did in Amman in the 80s, 70s, 80s. This was the period of the private houses. They've been published in many books in the Western sphere, and also by Udo Kulterman when he published the book Architekten des Dritten Welt, also Acts of the Third World, where he put Yasmin Lari, the famous Indian architect who passed away. I forgot the name. Maybe I will come to it later, to him later. So it was a book. He put Rifat Jardijri, some of the famous or pioneer Iraqi architects. So it was for me the first time that I've been put within a context, within a group of artists who try to create the sense of place through their work. So, and then I've been invited through, I think, through this book and through Rifat Jardijri, who is one of the pioneers, thinkers, Iraqi. When he looked at my work, he invited me to participate in the grand competition for designing the Grand Mosque in Baghdad. They invited Scott Brown, what they call it? Venturi, Scott Brown, Bofill, and one of the famous Japanese architects who've been the veteran of the postmodern, let's say, era, and also the great masters of the Iraqi architects. And I won the first prize. So it was, this was again a turning point in my life.
But that was before Grand Mosque of Riyadh.
Yes, this was actually 1979 till 82. And it was published in many languages, in Ashtu Urdui, in Domus, in Architecture Review, name it. I mean, it was more than 12 different European magazines, and by constant, one of these magazines were in the hand of the authority in Riyadh, the Riyadh Development Authority. This is one of the most prestigious and most outstanding organization who take care for Riyadh. It was founded by King Salman, by Prince Salman when he was Amir of Riyadh, because he was caring for this kind to create Riyadh as a capital of Saudi Arabia, and he thought that through architecture, through meaningful architecture, which related to the history, related to the sense of this inherited values, socially, architecturally, environmentally, and culturally, through architecture. So he was aware about it. So I think this was unique to find such authority, which was sustained during the 40 years, and they won more than many awards, especially the Arkhan Award. They won more than 5 Arkhan Awards. Among them is one of my work which we did in downtown Riyadh. So they invited me to participate in the competition, and we won the Grand Mosque and Justice Palace. And this was actually for me the second turning point in my life, because from here I start understanding the place, the historicity of the culture, how we create, let's say, a talking image of a man-made structure which can communicate with the people.
In 1995, you take the award for Grand Mosque of Riyadh.
So the work started, I think, 1984. It lasted more than 7 years, designing and construction, and I think even the Just Palace and Mosque, this become the symbol of Riyadh. It was shown in the last release of the Saudi banknote for the first time in the Arab world. So this become actually as if the work being documented now forever. So it's because people think that although it's a governmental building, but it cares for the people's demand. They can meet the prince directly without any kind of procedures. And the building itself look like a city. It's not a building. It's not a mammoth, a massive. So where people get terrified, they feel that it's their home. Which I liked very much when a guy maybe
it's like an urban pattern.
It has an urban pattern. It's like a micro city.
Micro city. That's true.
And this actually, I think, applied for the mosque, particularly. I mean, at the first start, and then it influenced the Just Palace. It become like city within the city, and even people when they go inside, they got surprised. It's not this typical governmental wow and terrifying you. It gives you the image as if you are in your home. So this is very important to humanize what you are producing. And I think here you are creating an architectural outcome or product which can talk to the people and people can interact with it. And this become actually part of this contextual approach socially.
Yeah.
Besides the let's say the materialistic approach to the city, how we relate the building with the surrounding and how the surrounding can be influenced by the building. Now there's a campaign now in the area of my work to let's say to upgrade all the building so that it will complement the Just Palace.
That's why you are saying, I mean, place, the concept of place always comes with a story, or it creates a story, or it is a creation of a story.
Exactly.
Yeah. That is the idea.
So it becomes like a history, and it can sustain because people, when look at it, they think that it's done today. I mean, this is what make the work. It's not let's say an iconic outcome which may be lost maybe for some minutes and then you forgot it. You know, the idea behind it, how you create a product which can be memorized in your subconscious.
This is an alternative concept of timelessness. You say in your web page, isn't it? So I mean, this is, I think, now it is becoming more and more clear in my mind. So I mean, this is an alternative approach to create an iconography or kind of a, I don't know, a very powerful expression, which will be influential for a moment, or for at the first glance, but it won't stay long because it doesn't touch people. It's only a kind of an eye memory or kind of a visual memory.
For a moment.
For a moment. But the other one comes with a story which touches people's behavior and act in a space, and they start to unify with the space. They become the part of it. So that is important. I think this is something very important. This concept of timelessness, which is freed from the expression of the building.
Exactly. And you know, when you memorize it and keep it in your memory, it means that you are in dialogue with this what we mean kept in your memory. So it evokes people to be participant. Even sometimes they ask maybe the client why you don't add some elements to this building, and the client respond to these needs. And I found this very interesting that the people that they work as if it's talking to the people. I mean, it communicates. It's not defending itself against them. What we are seeing now in our today's time, you see very nice building, very impressive, but it's very defensive. I mean, you can't get inside. You can't feel that you it's part of your life mood or life pattern. So that's why I think what we did till now is a story which creates itself multi stories. I like to stress on the point that people, while they are walking in this fabric or this what they call it clusters, they start creating stories for the building. Because they spent some time, it was unplanned, so sometimes they sit and do something which was unprogrammed. This is actually what makes my work very interesting, that you go there and then suddenly you find yourself, there's a lot of chances to be inventive. One of my work which we did is also in Saudi Arabia, in Riyadh, the King Abdulaziz Center, it was originally a big competition. They invited very famous firms, I don't want to mention them, but they proposed a huge block, about maybe 300 meter long by 100 meter wide, in the city. And they invite me to be a juror. They invite also Ali Shaibi, one of the prominent architects who received also Aga Khan Award, and then some guy from MIT. And then we start looking to these submitted work. We couldn't choose any of them because they blocked the whole area. And then we told our client, the Riyadh Development Authority, which was caring for this kind of very prestigious historic places and projects, we couldn't choose any of these work. So the head of this higher authority told us, so please give us an idea. So what we did actually, we break the mass to be a city. So because this museum has many museums, let's say, domains, social, political, historical. So you have, as if you are creating a city. And what happens? We did that. So we've been commissioned from the client to take care for the new approach. And then the result was that when people go to the museum, they don't go to the museum. They spend most of their time in these public spaces, the gardens. It becomes their own home. And it won the American award, Liverpool Committee. It's an international award. We got the first prize worldwide. So just to assure you that you are building for the people, not for yourself. Forget about you you have to think about the people, how you give them a chance to live, to get out of these dull homes, to go in the outside domain, which become their own home. It becomes their new house, new home, as if you are creating a macro home for the people.
That's why you are saying architecture is a world of possibilities.
Exactly.
In the sense that, I mean, the programmed and unprogrammed are coming together and creating a kind of alternative experiences.
And you create multi-programs.
Multi-programs.
You can't put them inside a frame. It becomes frameless. And when you look to the people, when they go to this side of the museum, they rarely go to the museum. They want to enjoy the open space where they can spend it on Friday with their family, with their kids, and it becomes a social place. People waiting for the other Friday so that they can get back. So the same happens also with the mosque and with the area of Just Palace. So we are creating a breathing space which is being designed. I am against what we call it placemaking. Placemaking, how you make from that place some event, but you have to take about place forming. And nobody talk about place forming worldwide. They talk about placemaking.
Making, yes.
No, I'm talking about place forming, because when you are forming the place, as if you are forming a big house. So you're getting different public spaces, different plaza, different passages, different moment of discovery.
Mosque is a very difficult subject to tackle with, because there are lots of prejudices, expectations, and it doesn't come with its own program, but it comes with a representation of values and other issues. So, and it is very difficult to bring some alternative approaches in terms of, at least it's like that in Turkey. I don't know what happens in other geographies, but how do you find the mosque architecture, current contemporary mosque architecture?
Well, actually, I have actually a big lecture about contemporary mosque architecture.
That's why I am asking.
You know, I have to be very honest about the work of Emre Arulat, the mosque. I got in love with this project, and always I mention it in many lectures, because he could understand the sense of spirituality through the light. How you design the light which came from God, how you can make this light so so I mean, influence your soul, your feeling, your perceptions, your how you capture this moment. Instead of putting all kind of decoration and all kind, it distracts your concentration. It distracts your being with yourselves. So I tried to create to look to the mosque as a city, not as a mosque. And I can remember once when the technical jury reviewed my mosque in Riyadh, he told me, you know, Rasim, the funny thing that it's not a mosque, it's a city. And then suddenly you go in a small passage, and then you have small plaza or small sah, and then suddenly you get inside the mosque. It's not a celebrative approach, as if you are getting in a temple. So it's part, because even mosque, when you talk Baytullah, the home of God, the house of God, it's not the temple of God. So that's why I try to understand this world, to transform it, or to turn it to become materialized through the quality of space you are creating, and also the transition between the what they call it, profane to the sacred. How you make this kind of journey through passing through different let's say environments, active spaces, with some chaotic activities till you reach the mosque. I mean, so it's become like as if you are walking inside old cities like Fas.
Fast, yeah.
You go through a very narrow passage, and then suddenly you go inside, you see the Sahn or the plaza, and you see the mosque. The same happened in our mosque in Riyadh. So that's why the mosque in Riyadh become a city. It's not a mosque.
Okay. So you had a chance to work with Turgut Cansever as well, huh? Was it a competition project?
Yeah, it was a competition for designing the al-Qura University in Al-Madinah. And it was actually a step, or it was a willingness from the office which was invited for this competition, because it's a big competition. It's a Saudi office. The Saudi consultant, his name is Saudi consultant. He hasn't actually a pyramid architect, so he wants to work. Is a very famous office for engineering and all kind of. So he wants to work with architects. So he invite Turgut Cansever and Stefano Bianca from Switzerland, and Dr. Ibrahim Abdel Halim from Egypt, and Mekia from Iraq, and me. So we create, if we've been 5 together, working together between Riyadh, Istanbul, and London. And I think this is one of the unforgettable, let's say, moment or experience I have with Turgut Cansever. He was so passionate. He was so, I mean, he was very honest about what he wanted to address. And he told us, we want to have a city. We don't want to have a geometrical, what they call it, military compound.
Cartesian rigidity.
Yeah, where most of the universities are under this dilemma, very geometrical, very ordered. So we created a city which become really a city to live in, not just a campus which let's say suffer from this very hard geometrical functional form. We all been in the same wavelength. So that's why the work we did, I think it was great. It has many, let's say, it needs so much details because there's nothing repetitive. And we spend time, working and trying to get, but unfortunately the client want to have something very functional, very easy to manage. So that's why they give it for somebody, for an American firm. Yeah, but I think this was the first time when I met Turgut Cansever in, this was 1986.
Years after, I mean, you are coming back to Turkey, you are living in Middle Eastern geography, but you are also very connected to the Western countries as well. So how do you see the current architectural situation in Middle Eastern region, let me say, including Turkey, of course. I think you have to separate what is happening in Syria, Jordan, and maybe what's happening in Dubai and other places in Turkey. There are lots of differences in between these geographies, but comparing to West, I think there are some significant continuities as well.
Well, when I look to the what happens in the Arab world, especially in the major cities, without mentioning any names, there's a tendency towards the high-rise building, towards the let's say beating the sky. I mean, although the high-rise building was
are they simulating what's happening in the West?
In the West, especially
in a reductionist manner.
In America, in USA. Okay, I can understand that the high-rise building in Washington, in New York, because the land was very limited. But when you are talking about high-rise building in a Dubai, in a very open land, you can create something different, totally different than what's been now being implemented, and even maybe Singapore give also a model, but Singapore is also an island, so that's why, or Hong Kong. I mean, so they took this as sign of the modernity
model,
and the
model of modernity,
and also the futuristic approach,
which is
totally wrong, and I am against misleading, because it gives you you misunderstand the city as okay. And I can understand that such a building, if you're talking about office building or banks, to reduce the time, okay, you can use some kind of high building, but not for residential. I mean, imagine when you are putting these boxes filled with people. So it's inhumane. You are dehumiliating those who are living in such towers. I mean, now in Europe, nobody think about towers for housing. I mean, only for offices, maybe in some areas, like in Paris. Look, Berlin. Berlin is the capital of Germany. You can rarely find high-rise building.
Yeah, that's true. Yes.
And sometimes I hear some of the my friend. He told me that there's a rule: the building has not are not allowed to exceed the tree height. Imagine. I mean, so that's why, although it's one of the leading country in the industry. I mean, because I lived in Germany 10 years, you can rarely find unless you are talking about bank building, okay, like Frankfurt. But it's not all in one area, but not the whole city become like a huge boxes filled with people like ants, like moises. I mean, it's I don't know how people can feel when they are living in such high-rise building. So, well, I mean, my son designed a 45-story building, but Jamal, yeah. But he designed, the building in Riyadh. Now it become very significant in Riyadh. People are watching it. It's like a vertical city. It's not a tube. It's full with surprises about having. There's a kindergarten. There's a restaurant, which serve also the community, serve also the people living inside this tower. And also there's a courtyard, open courtyard in the higher floor, so you can plant trees in the elevation. So it becomes like as if you are looking to the roofscape of the city become vertical. I will send it to you. I mean, it's very interesting. So this is actually the only building which he designed of that size. I mean, 45 story.
Are you working together? I mean, or
no? He has his own office, and sometimes we've been consulting each other about. He worked with me in some projects in the Emirates. Even in the Emirates, the officials want to. They were planning to design a city. They call it. It's in the coastal in the Gulf. What they call it. Arabian Gulf, Persian Gulf. They want to have something, get away from Dubai and Abu Dhabi. They want to have something human. People feel the space, and they themselves told us, so forget about Dubai, Abu Dhabi. It becomes place for high-rise building. Want to have something more humane, more acceptable by the people to live, the outdoor, indoor as well. So he worked with us in that concept. They call it the Riviera. They start with some.
How does he see his father's work?
Well, there's not. Sometimes we have some discussions about how he look at my work. He told me that you repeat yourself, although I am not repeating myself, because I'm trying to get to something more, to understand the meaning of life. I mean, because sometimes we forgot the meaning of life for that particular person, and how this person can feel that he live in peace with the environment. We are living here in cities, in hostile cities. I mean, the city it occupies your mind. You've been distracted. You can't concentrate, and even you can't memorize it. I mean, this is very important that most cities we are doing now. When you look at it from your car, driving maybe in 80-kilometer speed, you look to the building and then you forget it. I was trying to create cities where when you look to the city, you can memorize it.
And it creates a memory.
Yes, through the way how you create this unexpected, let's say, how to create the sense of discovery. Our cities has no sense of discovery.
So what happened to the ideals of 68?
Well, I think 68 still with me till yeah, because the work we did for this theater, it has the same values, the same vision about how people feel in harmony with their environment, feel not defended, feel not let's say provoked. You have to give them sense of being with themselves and being also with the others, and to create this kind of what they call it, the big home, or compared to the small home, the private home, the family, to create a home for the people who are living in that city, through the way how you create these open spaces, how you design open space as if you are designing a house. Now, most architects, I have to say it, they look to the city as a like a farm. You have to create a building in a strip form, and they don't try to create let's say a matrix of discoveries, of what they call it, unexpected spaces, to create what they call
unexpected but not accidental.
Not accidental, yeah. And then suddenly you find yourself you are related to that space, because it opens your mind, it opens your vision, and you say, okay, why I don't sit here and read, for example, or try to do something. So this is what I am trying to find out in my work, to create these, and sometimes it's much more difficult than designing a building. It's much more difficult. And we try to do that in this Riviera complex in Abu Dhabi. We spend months how we design the public spaces, how you move from one saha or from one open space to another one, the connection between how it looks like. Is it covered? Is it open? Is it zigzag? So it's and really as if you are creating, writing a poem. I mean, so it has some kind of poetic. I mean, poesy. I mean, so you let people communicate. You let people to have some kind of a narrative.
But there was another project in the website, Housing for Engineers. Housing for engineers?
Yeah, it was something like that.
No. It was housing for workers in the cement factory in Jordan. It's in mountainous village.
Yeah, mountainous area, but very rigid geometry and U-shaped courtyards.
Courtyards and steps. And it was actually shortlisted for the Arkan Award.
Yeah, I know that. That's why I'm asking.
Yeah. It was very interesting because, I mean,
for workers. And really, when you look at it, how these middle class people, how they utilize the public space, the open space, there was a dialogue between them, because he wanted to take some part of this open to be his garden. So okay, do that, but don't create a barrier, or don't break the continuity of the fluidity of people who are passing in these passages. And they take care for it. So when you are walking, you enjoy how the initiative, the self-initiative being raised up to, because he wants to create an outdoor garden for himself and also for the people.
Yeah, the units were very simple, but the way they are brought together, and as they contact with the integrate with the topography, then the whole thing becomes more complicated within that simplicity.
And also
I didn't know that it was a candidate for Award.
Yeah, it was shortlisted, but it didn't went through because we couldn't. We submit a lot of possibilities, how people are trying to, how they can.
The background story was very interesting. Yeah,
how you create in an undefined space and let the people define it, complete it. So you create this skeleton, and then the open spaces, the terraces, they are not covered, they are open. So some of them they want to cover it, some of them they want to make it like I don't know. So you create
it allows people to make differences with reference to their needs.
It's not monotony. So you break
the monotony. That's true, yes.
And become a liveful. And even people now, till now, they are talking about it. I will send you a poster, Meaning of Life. It was written by a Western guy and an Arab thinker. They look at it, and then he put my work as the steps, for example, the meaning of steps. In my book, which was published by Thames and Hudson, the main cover was this workers' complex.
Yeah, that's what.
And the steps become, when you go there, you find how people are using the steps. They sit on steps and create stories. They put some plans. They put some. It's not this usual steps. It's become more like an ambiance. I mean, it's a complex, let's say, environment, not repetitive. So every time the step has different approach. It's not repetitive. So people like to go to steps. They don't want to use any kind of mechanical.
You sometimes arrange workshops.
Yes.
Are they integrated with an educational institution?
Yes, they are integrated in the institutional bodies, and it adds to it something very important. They also invite the officials and the decision maker in the city to be part of it. So it becomes like a how to make this gathering between how they meet the decision maker, the stakeholders, and the student become like a client. He is now defending the idea, and the client himself, or those who has the power to manage the city, they learn from it. Yeah. We did it in Ajman University. It's one of the rarely seen universities in the Arab world who care for such interactive workshops.
Yeah.
They invite Zaha Hadid, Foster.
They
invite us many times, and the outcome was very interesting because we incorporate this, what they call it, the governmental officials to be part of it. And they themselves, they enjoy the outcome of it. And some students become now employees by these, let's say, entities. So it's as if you are transforming the isolated university to become part of the city development.
Because I look at two of them. One of them was What If, titled What If.
Yeah.
And the other one was Fragments of Delirious or something like that. Yeah. Very interesting.
I tried also in Cairo to do, because Cairo is a very rich environment to create a lot of workshops, incorporating the children. In one of these workshops, we went to the children and we sat with them, and they told us how they have their tracks in their own city. And it's very interesting that these children have vision. So learn from them, not just to put themselves as if you are the master and they are nothing. I mean, and the way they are so, they got in love with their what they call it, living quarters. So they want to improve it after this workshop. So I give them some boost, you know.
Yeah. There was another project which was very interesting in Pakistan.
Yeah.
What was it?
This is my son did it, I think. Yeah,
Is it
in Karachi.
Sharif, Shanun Sharif?
Mazar Sharif.
Mazar Sharif project.
Yeah, this is ein tomb.
Yeah,
no, it was not built. It was not.
Yeah, it wasn't built. I
yeah,
see, but what I try to I look at that project as if it is a kind of a altered or developed version of this Grand Mosque of Riyadh understanding.
Yeah. The social aspect.
In terms of social, cultural, and utilizing the building as a kind of a neighborhood.
Yeah, exactly.
So I mean, this is what, contrary to what Jamal says, I mean, it is a certain change and development.
It was his work, actually.
Yeah, that's that. Yeah, I mean, but it is a kind of
a
developed or altered mode of this. The same understanding.
Yeah.
So
you know,
this is my comment on what he says about this change and repetition.
Yeah, we did something similar, but it was built in Riyadh, in Diriyah, northwest Riyadh. It was to develop in whole area for markets and in the entertainment and for traditional shops, and end up by let's say as a peak Islamic center for studies, and there's a museum and library, and the building because it's facing a very historical site in Riyadh, which is very important for the Saud family. So we decide to bury the building in the ground.
Yeah, that was.
So you get a ramped plaza.
Yeah.
And the funny thing that people like this plaza so much, and now it becomes the Ministry of Culture, headed by also very important prince. So imagine that you are using the roof of that building, and underneath you have the prince. It's really happened in our world that
and
you
it's
have
open to public.
Yeah, to be open to the public. I submitted for the Arkan Award, but it was not shortlisted. I don't know why. Maybe they have other vision about. But I will submit it for other awards because people like it so much. They found it. It's like a theater, as if you are using this roof. It becomes their amphitheater. They sit and watch the whole historical area. So it becomes for them like a journey through history. I mean, to understand the history, to understand the genuity of that site, historical site, through the building itself. The building become zero. I mean, okay, it's slanted, but it's facing this historical part, and really I found the appeal so strong by the people, and even by officials. They go there and sit and enjoy the. So anyhow, I mean, this is actually my last work, which I did actually in
that's
Riyadh.
very interesting. You will see it. Thank you very much for being with us. I mean, it was a joy.
I enjoy it.
You. And is there anything that you want to add, or maybe there are some significant issues I forgot to underline or ask?
Well, I tell you something. I was in the Istanbul new airport, and
that's a very good sign. We were talking about it just before this.
Yeah.
So.
And
what is your intentions about?
Well, I mean, it's empty from inside. The markets are staggered. You know, they are not along this walking journey compared to the old Ataturk airport, which maybe one of the significant element in that airport that is the open market along the whole main building. So you go there, sometimes you forgot you have to travel. So you get busy with all kind of stuff being presented in this commercial or free duty section. So I found it a bit, it's huge, it's empty, you have to walk long distances till you reach your target, your way. I was using the wheelchair. I mean, so the wheelchair guy, he know his duty, so he know how many elevator we are using up and down. And I was caring for only look at the empty space. It's dry, you know. There's no life. I don't know, because maybe of the corona, because people are not encouraged to use this transport. Let's say. Or the transportation in general, or the mobility become minimized now in our days. But the mass of that building is out of scale, you know. You don't feel, sometimes you get terrified, I mean, because you are alone, and the huge roof, and so I wish that maybe the officials here think about creating a program, how you make out of this long track or long trade something unique by adding maybe shops, stories. Yeah, and as if you are creating a city inside an empty box. I think this is that's just a wishful, you know, idea to maybe to be taken into consideration, because the building is very well done. I mean, in the let's say as a skin from inside, but it's empty. There's no life, and so this is actually my last maybe experience. Yesterday when I was passing, people told me it's so big airport. Be careful. I mean, sometimes you get scared about not finding your way because there's nobody there. I mean, it's. I don't know. This is actually just
that's
a remark about.
Yeah, that's a good remark.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for being with us. Hope to see you back again soon.
We have
you will have a lecture on
tomorrow. I have lecture
tomorrow in Bodrum,
Kütüphanesi
with Süha Özkan, and it will be recorded, I'm sure.
I will send you a copy of it.
Okay, thank you.
Maybe I can send you tonight, just to look at the slides. It's about my life with architecture, starting when I was 4 years old till this moment. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much for being with us.
And all the best.